Today's class will be looking at addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of complex numbers. Now let me quickly add something to what we had in our last class as regards complex numbers. So we're given a question like x squared plus 1 equals 0. In this case, I want to solve. I'm going to have my x squared to be equal to what? Minus 1, in which case my x is going to be square root of what? Minus 1. Okay, and according to our last class, we said I is what? Square root of minus 1. Or we have our I squared to be equal to what? Minus 1. Now, in this case, we have our x to represent our I here. So, I'm going to have this as what? Plus or minus I. Why? Because square root of minus 1 is what? I. And then, finding the square root of minus 1, it's going to become what? Plus or minus of I. And also now, the other thing I want to add is, if I have my I squared to be equal to minus 1, it means that my I cube is going to be what? Minus 1 times I. Minus 1 times I, which is what? Minus I. My I raised power 4 is what? This last one that I got here. Minus I times I, which is what? Minus I squared, which is what? 1. Why? Because I squared alone is what? Minus 1 times minus becomes what? 1. It means my I raised power 5 is going to be what? It's going to be I. Now, that's that. Now, let's now see how we can what? Add and subtract in complex numbers. The same thing with multiplication and division. For this first one, what to add this, also subtract, in that case, then this what to divide here, what to multiply, and also what divide. How do we solve this? Now, in complex numbers, you add your real number to your real number, you add what complex numbers, your imaginary number to your what? Imaginary number. On expand, I'm going to have this as what? This as 7, plus what? 2i. Why? Because 2 plus 5 is what? 7. And 4i plus minus 2i is what? 4 minus 2i, which is what? 2i. And in this case, I'm going to have what? 1 minus 7. That's what? Minus 6. Then minus 8 minus what? 2. That's minus what? 10i. In which case, I can see that what? Minus 2 comes out. What remains? 3 plus what? Plus 5i. And that's all for that one. Now for this this is division. Whenever to find whenever to divide in complex number, you're going to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator, just like sword when you have square root. So I'm going to have this as what? 2 plus 3i. I'm going to have what? 2 plus 3i over 3 plus 2i times conjugate means multiply it by the negative sign of the denominator, as I explained in sword, which now gives us what? 6 minus what? 4i, okay, plus what? 9i, okay, minus 6i squared. 6 minus 4i plus 9i minus 6i squared. All over, expanding this, I'm going to have it as what? 9 minus 4i squared. Okay, this now becomes 6 minus what? Okay, in this case, I'm going to have it as what? Plus what? 5i. Then this should give me what? Plus 6. Why? Because I squared is minus 1 times minus 6 becomes plus over 9 plus what? 4. Okay, just as I did above there. In which case, I'm going to have this as what? I'm going to have this as what? 6 plus 6, that's 12 plus what? 5i over 9 plus 4, there is what? 13. So, just look through with your addition, your expansion very well, then do also add it very well, and you're good to go for that question. Now, for number 4, now we have what? 5 into 1 plus I over 1 plus 3i all squared. From here, I can expand this and say that this is the same as what? 5 plus 5i over 1 plus 3i all squared. 5 plus 5i over what? 1 plus 3i all squared. Now, this question is similar to multiplication. Okay, what do we have? 5 plus 5i over what? 1 plus 3i. Or, in this case, I have to write it. I have to duplicate it, Now, this is what this means. Okay, in this case, I have to now what? Expand. 5 times 5 is 25 plus what? 10i plus what? 10. That's plus 25i. Plus 25i plus what? 25i squared all over Okay, this now becomes 1 plus what? 3i plus what? 3i plus what? 9i squared. Okay, now this now leaves us with what? This leaves us with what? 50i over what? 50i over, we have this as minus 8 plus what? Plus 6i. How come about that? This becomes what? Minus 25. Okay, this becomes 25 plus what? 50i minus 1 times 25, because I squared minus 1, I'm going to have that minus 25 over, this becomes 6i initially, now let's say plus 1, then this becomes minus 1 times 9 becomes minus 9. So that's why I have this as what it is. So if I pull 2 out from up and down, I'm going to have what? 25i over what? Over 2 comes out again. I have this as what? I have this as 3i minus 4. So I've left it with 25i over what? 3i minus 4, and that is the answer. So what do you need to know? You need to know that I square equals minus 1, I cube is equals to this, and so on. Then multiplying or dividing or adding, you know how to solve a question and get your answer.